think we should split up.
Quick, let's run up the stairs.
Babe, you're so hot. Let's make out in the woods.
I'm a virgin. I'll totally survive this.
Welcome to the Lulu and Pop Horrawr Show.
And we're back.
What is up?
What is up?
Welcome back to Lulu and Pop, the Horrawr Show.
Horrawr Show.
I just want to take a second to thank everyone for listening to that first episode. The response to us coming back into the podcasting community has been really great. I really, really, really appreciate it. I appreciate all of our old listeners and our new listeners and everyone in between. So much love. Handshakes around the board. High fives. Butt grabs and consensuals.
I mean, I was going to go with hugs before butt grabs.
Well, when you do sport, just like a psh, like right on the butt.
Okay.
You ever do sports and get slapped on the butt? Psh.
Nah.
Good job.
But I'm a hugger.
Okay. But we don't really hug in sports like that. It's more of a
Well,
psh.
I feel like a hug is better than a butt grab, but who am I to judge the whole...
I mean, I guess it's
sporting
more of a
community.
butt grab, more like a butt slap.
Okay.
You know, you hit the cheek and then you let it go. You know,
Aye.
it's not like a hit the cheek, grab the cheek, lift a cheek. There's not 3 steps.
It's not meant as like a sexual harassment thing. It's more of a camaraderie.
Yeah, like it never felt sexual in nature.
Okay.
Sometimes it felt a little aggressive, like when people would just go for like a all-out Hail Mary swing,
Go for the
like
gusto.
a haymaker smack on your booty.
Yeesh.
You know,
Okay.
but I mean, we're here now. So anyway, thank you everyone for listening. We appreciated it. Lots of love. Check us out on Instagram. That's where a lot of the things are happening off. Got like posts and shit, and you can see our drink. Last week's drink was Armitage tea,
Yes.
Armitage iced tea. Let us know if you liked it.
I mean, all these drinks are going to be easy because I don't have time to be making no complicated ass
I think we
drinks.
should like elevate our drink complication as we go. Like hopefully by like the end of the season, we're doing some shit where like
some flaming Dr. Pepper shit. No,
I'm saying like
I like
why wouldn't we try to get a flaming Dr. Pepper?
I like the concept of us doing things that actual people can do.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with that. I mean, we got a little.
people
I
can
got a
do
little
a flaming
fancy.
Dr. Pepper.
Got a little fancy this week.
You did get a little fancy this week, but I'm just saying a flaming Dr. Pepper is not super difficult. You just got to have a lighter.
That's true.
What if I bring out like my electric lighter, my little Tesla?
Yeah, Tesla.
I'm like,
later.
all right. So getting into the libation of the week. Well, first of all, welcome to the show. And we are going to be reviewing Us this week. We're going to be giving you Us from beginning to end, from the rooter to the tutor,
And us
from
dissecting
the grave, from the womb to the tomb.
dissecting it best we could because
Yeah.
WTF.
Yeah, right. So if you haven't seen the movie, watch it and then come back and check it out. If you're too afraid to watch the movie, just listen to us.
Yeah.
We're just as entertaining as Jordan Peele, Lupita Nyong'o, and Winston Duke, and those kids, and the chick from The Maiden's Tale. We're just as entertaining. How entertaining are we? Just as entertaining.
That's true.
Not above, not below. Right there.
Bare minimum.
Right there. Bare minimum. Holding on. We're a C+ with entertainment.
Oh boy. Parents would be so proud.
Hey, man. As long as they're better than D's.
That's true. That's all
So-
I aim for.
Libation of the week. Lauren, what did you cook up for us this week?
So this week we decided to do a take on A Dark and Stormy, which is a libation that we both like.
Uh-huh.
And so if you know anything about A Dark and Stormy, generally it's just a ginger beer with a spiced rum poured over it.
Okay.
I decided to spice it up a little bit
Ooh, say that then.
with a homemade brown sugar simple syrup.
That's good.
You like it?
That's tasty.
Yeah? Okay.
I have to say the ginger beer that we use, we have to advertise that because that is
Ginger
probably
beer
the
is really
best
good.
ginger beer
Yeah.
I've ever tasted. Sometimes ginger beer can taste very ginger-y, you know? So I must ask, yours is separating way better than mine. I think because you have less alcohol.
I knowing you,
Yeah.
as I do. I poured in probably double alcohol.
Yeah, yours
Mine.
actually has the more of the separation. And you know what? The darker one's at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to name this drink The Tethered.
That's a
in honor of the film Us. So this is going to be The Tethered, which is going to be our version of a dark and stormy. And you're supposed to put a little brown sugar on the rim.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
I mean,
But
they don't know
My
that.
bad.
Sure we did.
but the recipe will be up on the Instagram.
Yeah. Check out our stories.
It's a
You can go
good-ass
there and check
drink.
out all the drinks. Yeah.
If you like a little sweet with
A
your
little,
liquor,
a little sweet with your sassy.
I feel like this would be an excellent fall winter drink.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Because to me, like a spice drink
Right.
goes great in the colder months.
Yeah. Okay.
As I am cuddled up in this blanket right now, even though it is end of March, it still works for me.
Okay. So here we go. You ready for this?
I am ready.
Let's get into the review of Us.
That we have not talked about yet.
We have not
It's
talked about it.
so
We've seen
hard
it
to not
on
talk about.
Saturday. I was supposed
Yeah.
to do a podcast on Friday. No, we saw it Thursday. I was supposed to do a
Thursday.
podcast Friday, but I had to go to sleep, man. I'm old.
Such is life.
I'm old. These late night podcasts, when they don't start on time, I gotta check.
Especially on a work night.
My bones be like, my nigga, what is you doing? You need to chill. So we saw Us on a Thursday. Excited to talk about it. So since this is like the first one we've seen in the theater, we did the notes afterwards. So we're going to just go a little bit back and forth.
So
I'll try to drive. You try to keep me on track.
I was say if any of this like timeline is wrong, all I have to say is my bad because
I don't even know if the timeline would be wrong, but I don't even think I don't want to like read it note for note. I was just going to try to go
yeah.
and then stop me when I've gone too far.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that cool?
generally our relationship. So
You got me?
Yeah, that's marriage.
So this film opens up and there's just like a wall of bunnies. Cool. Awesome. I mean, it's just a wall of bunnies. And then it cuts to like some 80s shit on the TV. There's like movies that I think are like VHS tapes that I think are like really crucial to something.
I think the VHS is our homage to the movie we're about to see.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of different genres thrown in here, and I feel like a lot of different influences. And they're also talking about hands across.
The sand.
Is that really what it was called? I thought it was called Hands Across America.
I think I was one when this happened.
I actually remember this as a thing when I was like a kid, and I actually like participated in it.
Wow.
Which is kind of funny. Funny thing. So like my grandmom took me. Hands Across America is what it was called. My grandmom took me to go do it, and ours wasn't as like it wasn't across anything. It was like in Camden, and we made a giant circle, you know. And my grandmom took me, and I was holding hands with like this tall blonde lady. But of course, when you're a kid, everyone's tall. And my mom and my grandmom was like, "Why are you flirting with that woman?" And I was just like, "I was just being cordial." Me at a tender age of like 2.
Just not even knowing no better.
Just not knowing no better, just being cute and like out here in these streets, holding hands with random white ladies, you know, just trying to live my best life. Okay, so they're talking about Hands Across America on this old ass TV, and it's kind of weird a little bit. And then it cuts to 1986. Young Napita, who goes by the name of Adeline in this movie, she's at a carnival. And like her dad is like, I'm not sure if he was drunk or whatever, but he was being kind of weird.
There was definitely not a great family dynamic.
Well, yeah, it definitely
You know?
seemed like the dad was trying, but he wasn't good at being a dad. And the moms just kind of seemed like she was kind of young and a little bit over it. I'm not sure if that's the vibe you got.
That's exactly the vibe I got.
Okay,
the very
cool.
much over it
Yeah.
aspect.
Right.
Didn't give me like a warm, nostalgic feeling. It kind of just felt like, ugh.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it felt like home to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not go to
It just felt like it felt pretty normal. It just felt
Yeah.
like you were out. Your
Yeah.
parents are kind of beefing a little bit, but they're trying to hold it together to have a good time for you. They were playing like the throw the ball at the cans game.
Yep.
And You know, I guess the dad wasn't doing so well or whatever. The dad was actually played by Black Manta, who's also going to be in the next Jordan Peele produced movie, Candyman. Looking forward to talking about that.
So ready for that. Oh,
Yeah, Candyman.
that shit fucked me up as a child.
Did it? Not me, because Candyman didn't kill black people.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been dead.
I mean, I'm sorry, but then again, I mean, I would
Not
die
sorry.
in most movies.
You've no reason to be sorry. It's okay.
We know how most of these horror movies
That's like
end with the
me
black guy
watching-
dying at the beginning.
I just remember watching, that made me think of watching Children of the Corn as a child, and I
Yeah.
was never scared.
Never scared.
Because I wasn't over 18, but as soon as you turned 18 and watching that movie, you're like, oh no.
You know what though? Like certain movies, they just don't fear me. Like Jaws. Never afraid of Jaws because I'm just like ain't really fucking with the beach like
You
that.
ain't going past your knees.
Yeah, like if the shark came up on me, that shark is like he's like waddling on the beach.
Which is silly.
Yeah. Sharks waddling is a funny concept. So while her dad is playing some whack-a-mole, the mom goes off to go to the bathroom. Daughter wanders off. And at first she goes out to the beach. She ends up going to this creepy ass like carnival thingy. And it's like a room of mirrors. While she's in there, she like bumps into a person. We don't really see the person at this point.
But the back of their head looks alarmingly similar to hers.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of threw me off was that they were different heights. I don't know if you noticed that, but like the one in the mirror seemed a little bit shorter than the one in real life. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Cut to present day. Adeline and her family. Am I saying that right? Adeline?
Adelaide.
Adelot? Can I just call her Allie or Adele? Addie?
Adele is not it. That is a...
Can I just call her Lapita?
I mean, I know how you do. And if you,
I'm going to call her Lapita.
if you know anything about Mark, he's
Hey,
gonna
y'all
call-
listening. Adeline is now going to just be called Lapita because I don't feel like battling with this name, and Lapita is so much easier for me to say.
I know how your brain works.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I might call her Adelaide, but
I mean, do what you got to do, baby. Do what you got. You got to get it how you get it.
I mean, acceptance is key.
Have to keep. I just want everyone to know that before we started drinking the Dark and Stormies, before we started drinking the Tethered, we were doing a couple rounds with my dad. We got a couple flights. So we're feeling extra
We're
saucy.
deep. We're pretty deep right now.
We might make a baby tonight on that type of level deep. Like we're just feeling good. Like the weather's nice.
It is finally
The
springish.
basement is like nice and chill. Like we don't need the heat on. We don't need the air on.
You have this beautiful glow.
Shut
of-
up.
of-
For real? I'm glowing.
I mean, with the sun hitting you right
Yeah.
now. It's a
With the
nice
glasses
glow.
on. Hold on, wait. Did I do it for you? Do we have to
Little
pause
bit.
the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pause
shit.
the podcast.
Pause the podcast. All right. So it cuts to present day. Adeline is in the car with her family. Her family consists of Winston Duke, sorry, of M'Baku fame from Black Panther.
Playing a vastly different character in this
Vastly
movie.
different. I actually had a good time watching him because he was interesting.
He shows, in this movie, he showed range.
Yeah, he gave off dad vibes.
He
Gave
did.
off young dad vibes.
Young dad that, I don't want to say like,
He definitely gave off
not cool dad vibes.
not cool dad vibes. And he also gave off an aura where he was a black dude, but he wasn't stereotypically a black dude. Like he wasn't your stereotypical black father.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
He was kind of corny. I think he might get punched in the face in a fight.
Yeah.
Like he didn't
Which is-
seem like he
it's
could.
just-
He seemed like a waste of bigness.
It was wild to
Yeah.
me to see him in such a different role than
Kind
the
of
last.
very vulnerable in a way, but not in the same way.
Shout
Kind
out
of-
to him.
Yeah.
He showed his range in this movie, in my
Right.
opinion.
We're introduced to the siblings. There's a daughter and a brother. Do you remember their names?
Zora
Uh-huh.
is the sister.
Okay.
She's the stereotypical like teenager who doesn't have time for anyone's shit.
Uh-huh.
And then we have Jason, who's like that awkward little brother.
Yeah. I actually think Jason's a little bit more than awkward. He almost seems on the spectrum.
But yeah,
He seems a little bit on the. He seems like he's normal, but not 100%.
yeah,
Like I feel like he's highly functioning.
yeah. There's some brilliance to his madness.
Yeah, like the
But
fact that
there's-
he would keep getting like locked in like that room for instance, or he just seemed like even his sister kept saying he just has a hard time paying attention.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's not 100% where he needs to be.
Yeah.
You know. We're introduced to them as characters, and they are going on a vacation to the same spot where young Lupita was lost when she was a kid.
Yes.
Okay. And then we like they're driving through. They actually get to their house. Apparently, this is the first time that they're going to be at the house since Lupita's grandmother died. So there's like a different vibe there. There's kind of like a somberness to it.
There's a weird vibe happening.
Yeah. They're all eating food. And I thought it was kind of weird because like they're all eating like Long John Silver's, except for Lupita, who's eating a bowl of strawberries.
Which I'm not going to say what you did because I don't want to ruin the movie yet for everyone. But you called this shit out
immediately upon seeing
so
the bowl of strawberries. I was just like, well, that's weird.
Yeah. You predicted the ending of the movie.
At this point, I will tell you that I literally thought that all these doppelgangers were going to be rabbit people. I thought they were going to be like clones. And they had like rabbit brains, and that's why they enjoyed strawberries.
Yep.
So at this point, like they're trying, like you're getting into the family dynamics, like things are kind of going good or whatever. The dad bought a shitty boat called the Crawdaddy, which looks like a boat you would like drive across a river to the other side of the river.
What I like to call the struggle boat.
It was definitely like, I wouldn't consider it a boat. It was just like a high powered raft.
That wasn't super reliable.
It didn't look good. It wasn't starting
dying.
up. Yeah, it kind of leaned a little bit to the left, as he would like to say. So at this point, like the dad is trying to, I might go a little bit off script, so please bear with me. The dad was trying to get the mom to go to the Santa Monica beach.
Yes.
And she was hella against going to the Santa Monica beach. But like Winston Duke does this weird thing where he's like, he's commanding and also childish at the same time, where he's just like, but the kids are really loving. I guess we'll just cancel with our friends.
Yep.
So he convinces Lupita to go to this beach where she got, taken, or where she got lost when she was a kid.
She had some fucked up shit happen to her.
Yeah. Do they start doing a flashback at this point or no?
Well, we don't make that an initial flashback, but at this point, there was a strong hesitation for her to go back to. She don't fuck with beaches.
She don't fuck with beaches. She definitely doesn't fuck with the Santa Monica beach.
And no one in the family knows why.
Right.
She's never brought this to anyone's attention. So I'm not mad at his determination to go because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like if you had told me, you were scared of drowning in a pool, I would never. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you tell me, but if you don't disclose that information, I'm going to be like, yo, why aren't we going to this pool party?
Right. Yeah. She wasn't being upfront. So they decide to go to this to this beach function like the next day.
Yep.
Or whatever have you. And on the way there, they see this homeless dude who like got assaulted or something, and he's getting like put into a ambulance.
He looks pretty fucking dead.
He looks pretty fucked up. He also is walking around with this Jeremiah 1:1 or 11:11 sign.
Previously seen him in the beginning of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
So shit is already being tied together.
Yeah.
And if I was Adelaide, Lupita, whatever you want to call her, at this point, I would have already been losing my shit.
Okay. I mean, all right, I feel you. So they get to the beach, and the beach is a beach. They get there, and they're hanging out with their white friends. The chick from Handmaid's Tale, one of the dudes from Tim and Eric's Awesome Adventures. I don't know his name. I just call him douchebag husband.
They're the Tyler family.
The Tyler family, yeah. Mama Tyler, Papa Tyler. Papa Tyler and Winston Duke have a thing where they're competing with each other amongst like the possessions that they purchase.
Yeah,
I can relate. And then there's Mama Tyler, who's the chick from The Handmaid's Tale, is trying to get Lupita like daytime drunk, but Lupita is not here for it. Yeah, she seems very much on edge.
Yeah, she is not there for a good time.
Yeah. So they also have two twins, the Tyler family, who the twins seem slightly older than the than Zora, but not much.
She seems like 15. Twins, I would say 15, 16.
Yeah, and they're like doing flips, and they're being generally just kind of, what I like to call pretty white chicks in movies. They're kind of assholes.
Yeah, they're not a good time.
Yeah. So the brother Jason is like with them at first, and he's like making a sandcastle. He gets blown away. He decides to wander off to a bathroom. While wandering off to the bathroom, he sees a man with blood on his fingers, wearing a red jumpsuit, with his arms stretched out, looking into the sky.
At this point, I am in my head yelling at the TV screen or the movie theater screen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the theater we went into, everyone was just yelling.
That's true. We were in an ignorant theater.
I don't want to call it ignorant. I would just rather say we were in a very involved theater, a very interactive theater.
Yeah.
Slightly ignorant because they kept leaving, and that was fucking up the movie for
and
me.
they laughed at the parts that weren't funny.
Yes, I have some feelings about that.
I know.
We will talk about it when we get there.
Okay. It's okay, boo-boo.
Thank you. So Lupita's looking around for young Jason, doesn't see him, flips the fuck out. She's running all through the beach. Winston Duke is like, I don't know where he is. He comes stumbling back in because he just went to go take a pee, really. He went to like a poodle potty.
Yep.
And the mom is like, oh my God, like, where are you? Oh, wait, before this happens, like Lupita's getting these weird signs. A lot of 1 for 1.
Yes.
Like someone throws a Frisbee by them and it like lands on like, what is that shit where you spin and you place your feet on the colors?
It almost looked like a Twister.
Yeah, I guess it was Twister. Like it lands perfectly on the circle of Twister. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these signs is like pointing to this 1 for 1 relationship.
Yeah.
Lupita, like they all decide to like, fuck it, we're going home. Mm-hmm. So they go home. And then while they're there, like Lupita is like, yo, we need to leave.
Yeah, she has an awful feeling.
Yeah, and this is when she like, as she's tucking them in and she's like telling like bed stories and stuff like that, she gets to like Winston, and Winston's like, yeah, dude, I think we're fine. And she's like, no, we need to leave. And then she tells this story on how when she was young, she got lost at that pier and she found another person that looked just like her, and she was able to get away. But she's always feels like that girl has been chasing her. Now, around this point, I don't know if it happened before this or after this. I think it was roughly around this point. They have a flashback to young Lupita after she got returned to her parents. Her parents taking her to therapy because she's not talking. Hint number 1.
Yep. Big old fucking hint.
Big old fucking hint. However, it looks like trauma. Sounds like trauma.
Yep.
Something happened to her. She won't tell us her story. X, Y, and Z. You know, we need to figure this shit out. So, like, as they're, like, getting ready to leave, like, Winston Duke is kind of just being like, I mean, it's not that serious. If she looks like you, I can kind of knock her out because you're not that big.
Yep.
At this point, the power goes out. And it's like, what are we, like 20 minutes in the movie, maybe? 15?
Yeah, we're not very far in the movie.
Yeah, we're not very far in the movie. The son comes into the room and he's like, yeah, there's someone in our driveway. They're like, what are you talking about? They open up the windows and lo and behold, there's a silhouette of 4 creepy motherfuckers wearing jumpsuits in their driveway.
First of all, if you had seen this, what would have been your reaction? I'm just curious.
Get the strap.
Okay.
I probably would have called the cops immediately.
Yes.
I would have called the cops immediately upon like the power going out and then seeing them. I'd have been like, all right, let's all go. Because I have this theory that this may not be a great theory, but I have a theory if there's a home invasion, you go to one location. Okay. And you like a room or a closet, all of you go to the same location and you kind of like pan up at the door because you want to bottleneck the people coming in. And just hope that when they come in to get you, you can just overpower them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you're in an open space, there's a lot of room for a lot of like tomfoolery.
Well, like behind you, like,
yeah.
I feel like every house in this fucking movie was like a glass house. And
ginormous glass houses.
All glass windows everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is like, to me, motivation to never, ever.
We'll never have a glass house.
Yeah, we'll never.
Because you can't throw stones. You need a brick house to throw stones.
That's true.
Brick on brick.
Yeah.
That shit don't break. What is your thought when you saw the couple in the
I would have been scared shitless.
Yeah.
I would have been shitting myself. I've been like, yo, we need to call the cops now. We need to all have a weapon. And
fear poops.
And we all would need some type of, like, we would all have knives, bats, whatever weapons we do. If we had a strap, there would be that, you know, you would have that. All the kids would have bats or something.
Right.
And we'd all be like together. Yeah. I would not do what he did if you want to
Which
continue.
was Winston Duke like tries to calm them down, and he like goes outside. At this point, Lupita's like, put on your shoes. Like shit's about to pop off.
She has that gut feeling.
She knows shit's not right. Winston Duke goes out and he tries to like calm them down, and he's just like, hey y'all, like can y'all go? And then like when they don't do anything, he like goes back inside and he's like, yeah, they're being fucking
I was
weird.
yelling at the screen at that point. I think I was just yelling, yo, no, don't
Right.
go, like no, don't, like I would never let you go out there.
Lupita called the cops, and they
did.
said 14 minutes, which in a life or death situation, 14 minutes seems
Ain't
like a
shit.
long time.
Yeah,
Seems like a long time to me.
it does. You're
Like
right.
if you had to hide for 14 minutes from someone who's trying to kill you,
You're
that
fucked.
just seems like
You're
a long time
fucked.
to be hiding.
Yeah.
So he gets a baseball bat and he goes back out. And I think the funniest thing about this was like as he's confronting them, his voice is cracking as he's trying to sound more like black and more intimidating.
Masculine.
He's like, if there's gonna be a problem, we can have a problem. You know what I mean? And his voice is breaking. And then like at this point, he's just like, they start coming down
He's
toward
shitting
him.
himself too.
Yeah. So he like goes back inside and like they split off. Like the big dude starts walking toward Winston.
Yo, those kids run off in a way
Start
that scares the shit out of you.
Yeah, like they're very jittery in their
And like
movements.
rodent, like
Yeah, it's kind of like very roach like. You ever like turn on a light and just see like a roach running?
that's
It was like-
exactly what happened.
It was kind of like that type of vibe.
It was disheartening and alarming.
Yeah. So one of the girls like goes upstairs to get something, and she sees like one of the silhouettes like run by her window, and like Winston Duke like locks the door. He has the baseball bat, and like you see these figures walking toward the house, and then they stop and they go to the rock and they have a goddamn key.
They know immediately that like the fact that like I caught when you see that you're like, oh, something's up, because they knew the rock to kick
Yeah.
and they knew that there was a spare key in there, and then you were like, I should never have a spare key outside nowhere. That's
You know what's funny is I was literally thinking about getting a spare key. Like I was talking to you about it. And then after seeing this, I was just like, well, I think we should just not be able to get into our house.
we just need a fortress.
I think we're just good. I think we just have to get to my car and then just figure shit out from there. Like
Yeah.
at this point, no one should have access to our house from outside the house.
Yep.
Winston Duke tries to hold the door back after he realizes the door is being unlocked, which is a fucking horrifying feeling.
Yep.
If your door is locked and then all of a sudden you hear someone jingling some keys.
Yep.
At this point, the other kids are like breaking in and you hear glasses shattering and like fuckers are skittering. Winston Duke tries to hold the door, but whoever's on the other side is way more stronger
Significantly stronger.
and like grabs the baseball bat from him and then fucking kneecaps the shit out of him to the point where he's out of commission almost for the rest of the movie,
yeah.
for the most part.
Adelaide and her kids back up like they know.
It's like it's
Yo, Dad's gone at that point.
Yeah.
To me, they could have killed him off because she gave, like, I feel like the way they left him,
yeah,
they was like, ooh,
yeah.
well, he's useless.
So they all end up like migrating into the living room as the others come in, the tethered, and they are literal doppelgangers of the actual people living in the house. So there's one of Gabe who is like big.
He looked bigger. Like,
His beard was bigger.
he looked like a stronger man than Gabe.
Yeah. The daughter looked extra creepy, very sinister.
Yep.
The son, I don't know what was going on with that. That just looked rough. He had the mask. He was kind of like very feral.
I would say dog. I was gonna say dog-like, but feral is probably a better word. Yeah.
And then as the mom walked in, she had such a weird way of moving. The Lupita doppelganger.
Yep.
Such a weird way of like very sharp and precise movements, but also like it seemed like no step was over like taken. It seemed like if it took 5 steps for her to go somewhere, she did it in 5 very short, very quick steps.
Yeah.
And then it gets into this monologue, which kind of like fucked me up because people were laughing at the monologue.
Yeah. People were laughing at the way she was talking. Because she.
But that
clearly-
monologue is super important.
And I mean, I know we were both pissed about that because
Right.
it was a crucial part of the movie, and it
Well,
wasn't.
we didn't even know it was that crucial.
But I knew it wasn't meant to be funny,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like just because she was talking funny, people
Right.
were laughing, and I'm like,
But when you find out more about the movie and you understand why she is talking that way.
That shit irked me.
Right. But she basically has this monologue where she's like, we're Americans. You guys get to have all the nice things. We don't get nice things. We want the nice things. Would you say that's pretty much the gist of the monologue?
Yes.
I would also say that she also inferred that like their life on the surface affects their life underground.
Yes.
And she basically was like, I don't like this guy, but because you love this guy, speaking of Winston Duke, he's a part of my life. And like, if you're in the wrong audience, you don't get that nuance where it's basically like there was no choice in her
having these kids,
her having these kids with this man. Yeah. Like he is just there because the people on the surface had this relationship.
Yep.
But you don't understand all that initially. It just seems like a weird monologue.
But she expresses that like her daughter is evil.
Yeah.
And her son is with fault. Like you do get the gist that there's something very wrong with these people. Yeah,
and one of the things I like to say that happened at this point is Winston Duke pushes in his glasses and his doppelganger does the same exact thing. But the doppelganger isn't wearing any glasses, which makes me wonder if his vision was bad.
Well, he puts on the glasses.
He puts on the glasses at one point, but then he takes them off.
I think when he put them on, you could see.
But then he took them off.
Well, because there wasn't there was something missing up there.
Yeah, possibly. So at this point, Mama Lapita makes Lapita handcuff herself to a table with like these really weird handcuffs.
Yep.
They look like gold, and they were like, I don't know. It looked like more of like a bar handcuff than like a regular like police handcuff. It looked like some shit out of like an S&M or something. Like it looked like a custom set of handcuffs. And she basically sends each family member after that family member.
So basically, at this point, you're fighting yourself.
Yeah.
You're fighting a bizarro version of yourself.
Correct. Yeah. So Winston Duke's character is dragged outside by much bigger Winston Duke.
Beating his ass.
Just fucking clocking him as Winston Duke is like, who's obviously crippled from this like level 3 leg sprain that he got from like holding a door. And so he's like, I think he's dead. But
me too. I thought for sure he was going to get killed off.
The daughter is like made to run. She's like a track star. And she's made to run. And I knew she was going to have a hard fucking time because like that doppelganger was like stretching.
And gave her a
nice ass head start. And I feel like whenever anyone is like run and then they start stretching, that's a fucking problem.
Yep.
Like if someone says, I'm about to beat your ass and then they start stretching, like, yo, you're really about to, because these people, like, they care enough to limber up.
Yep.
They care enough to get their muscles warm. And anyone who's about to do some shit where their muscles need to be warm and you're not on that level, you're about to get fucked up.
Also, I don't think we mentioned yet that they're all carrying these giant ass scissors.
Giant ass scissors and one leather driving glove.
So
right leather driving glove.
You already know.
Giant gold ass scissors at that.
Like everyone.
I do want those scissors in our house though.
Though everyone knows that this is kind of a life or death situation. Like this is not fun. This is not a funsy thing.
Yeah, no.
Like, yo, this motherfucker can't catch me.
100% real.
And then also shout out to young Jason.
Let's talk about Jason. Let's talk about it. So Jason takes his doppelganger off to a closet and his doppelganger likes fire. And Jason has been playing with this weird magic trick that does like a weird sparky thing.
They both have a tick to them.
Yeah. So in this closet, young Jason's talking to his Jason doppelganger. He's not talking to him.
He's playing with
him. Yeah. And they both have masks. And the doppelganger makes him put his mask down. And at one point, real Jason 1, lifts his mask up. And it's weird because he's like the doppelganger starts mirroring his actions.
Yep.
But it was more direct than anyone else had their actions mirrored.
You think it's because they were younger?
I wonder if it's because I think it's because they're on the spectrum. And I think because they might have had a closer link than the other ones.
They were the only ones that their story made me sad. Maybe because they were so young.
Yeah. And so at one point, like Jason's doing these movements with his hand and the doppelganger is doing the same movement. And then he lifts up his mask. And when the doppelganger lifts up his mask, his face is like
burnt to shit
from the bottom down.
Yeah.
You know? At this point, Lupita is battling her doppelganger, which has her like head like smashed into like a glass like dining table.
Yep.
And Jason manages to like free himself from his doppelganger and locks him in a closet. And then he goes and hides. When he does this, like the doppelganger starts screaming, and Lupita is like, "That's not my kid.
That's your kid."
Yeah. So the doppelganger gets up and very like her movements were so sharp.
Yep.
So stiff, so efficient. Mm-hmm. She goes off and she's like looking, you know, for her kid. She finds her kid in his room locked up. At this point, Lupita is desperately trying to like get free. Please, like, I'm just going to go up into the point where this gets resolved. So if I miss anything, jump in.
That's okay.
I'm just hitting it from memory right now.
Yep.
Okay. So at this point, like Lupita manages to use some of her dancing abilities and like stretches her leg out and catches like the fire poker.
Yeah, that shit
to
was
help
intense.
like break the table so she can get her hands free from these handcuffs. Granted, she's handcuffed, I want to say, for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, she's handcuffed for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As she's doing this, like the doppelganger Lupita frees her kid, and he's like fucking furious.
Yep.
And he's like looking for this kid. As she's doing this, she's like looking around the house, and she manages to find this toy that real like Lupita 1 was looking at in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then she looks in the mirror and she sees an image of her younger self,
which is a big old thing.
Super creepy.
And you're like, what? How does she have these memories?
Right.
Of being little and doing ballet.
It's so weird how this goes. And then her little self looks at her and smiles creepily.
Yep. At
this point, Lupita has freed herself from her table and is like going back and looking for her son. And she finds her son, and they manage to get out.
Yep. Okay.
So now we have to backtrack a little bit. We got to talk about the rest of them. So the daughter who's running away from her doppelganger's fast as fuck.
Yes.
And catches up to her ass ASAP.
Yep. She had no chance.
No fuck. Chance. This girl must run at least 30, 40 miles an hour. Because she was fucking fast.
Yep.
So like they're playing like a cat and mouse game around this car, and the doppelganger or the tether is about to fuck her up. When his neighbor comes out and he's like, "Yo, get the fuck off my car." And like at this point, like the neighbor intervenes enough, which gives the daughter enough time to run back to the house as a doppelganger like stabs this dude.
And that is the first instance where you realize
they're killing people.
Like, yo, they're not here to fucking play with you.
No fucking games at all.
So she runs a little faster.
Yeah, she's like in it to win it now. Fuck that, I'm out of breath shit. You're about to die.
Yep. Fight or flight.
Yes. Winston Duke, what's his name in the movie? Gabe is he's actually in a plastic bag as his doppelganger is driving the crawdaddy, like his boat, out to the ocean. I guess he's just going to drown him.
He's going to dump him. He thinks he's too fucked up. So I think he thought I could just dump him in the middle of this lake.
Which is kind of funny because it means that both of them are not super smart.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just like his outwitting doppelganger was like subpar.
Yeah. And he manages to like get free, and thanks to like the shittiness of the boat, he ended up managing to like kill his doppelganger in the engine of the boat.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen so fast.
I didn't think it was going to happen so fast either. And I was just also like, is he dead? Because it happened so quick. I was like reaching for popcorn, and I was just like, oh shit, he's dead.
I think we both thought that Gabe was going to die. We were like, oh, well, he's dead.
Right.
He's
so Gabe comes back to the house as everyone like they all meet up again.
They hear him at the
and
dock.
then they come down to the dock and they hop in. Just as they hop in, like crazy kid with the hat is there. Fucking daughter comes sprinting in. She is so fast.
She is so fast.
She is so fucking fast. She comes sprinting in, and like the mom comes down the steps. Like she's also pretty fast, and they make it out just in time
to watch them drive away.
And then we get into our second part, which is we end up at what is their name?
The Tyler family.
Yes. So we end up at the Tyler family.
Who has a house of even more windows.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you didn't think the first house has enough windows, the Tyler house was literally all fucking windows. Like, I don't even think, maybe the door didn't have windows. That's it.
Yeah. So at this point, when we get to the Tyler family, they're like arguing about she thinks that they've seen something.
Yeah, Kitty is the wife.
Yeah.
And she's pretty sure she saw someone outside.
Right. And the husband is just like, well, I'm chilling.
Yeah, he plays her off, completely disregards her feelings.
Yeah.
And they all get killed.
Really quickly
with no fight.
So the doppelgangers come in. The twins, doppelganger, fucking horrifying.
Yeah,
when those bitches show
murders.
up and then just stab them in the neck, I literally was like, ah!
Yeah.
It was just like such a quick, and they just like, it's to me, it's your greatest fear, you know?
Yeah.
You're standing, you're talking, and then someone shows up just out of your peripheral. And you have just enough time to be confused before they do something violent and aggressive to you that ends you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the shit you see at the corner of they showed up so fast and then was just like, Pah!
You had no chance. Nobody in that house had a chance.
No one in that house had a chance. And so as like Kitty is dying, she's like, she tries to like go to like the husband doppelganger to like crawl up him like for help. And he does this weird thing where he offers her a hand and then he like takes it back on like some third grade shit.
Because he was like, the normal dude was a douche. And so he was like a super douche.
Yeah. And she tries to use Alexa to call the cops, but it plays fuck the police instead, which was fun.
Yeah. Yep.
So at this point, they're all just kind of like, the doppelgangers are just dancing around their house and just like enjoying their shit. When Lupita and the family roll up.
Knowing.
Yeah, just completely not knowing. Lupita knocks on the door. The doppelganger comes to the door. There's a moment where there's like a realization happening.
For both sides, I think.
And Lupita hits him in the head with a goddamn fire poker.
Yeah.
And he doesn't die or go down.
No.
And then they grab her and bring her inside. At this point, I thought that was fucking weird.
Yep.
Because why didn't they just kill her?
Yeah.
So then the rest of the doppelgangers come outside and they start trying to like, well, Winston Duke sends the kids away. And like the dad doppelganger and Winston Duke like start playing like this cat and mouse game where he like chases him toward a boat.
Yep.
The brother and sister, they get weapons. They go into the house and they hear the mom screaming, but they don't know where anyone is. So the daughter picks up a golf club. I think it's she picks up like a putter.
I don't know. I mean,
it wasn't a driver. It was like the ones you would see at like putt golf.
It was like the flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the son picks up like a crystal.
Yeah.
like one of those. What are they called?
Giant rock crystal looking mother.
Yeah, they have like a name, like a geometric something, or like one of those crystals that like it's like a rock explodes and the crystals inside of it type of shit.
Yeah.
And it was like on like a metal base. So they start looking for their mom creeping through this house, and the daughter kills the two twins.
Zora instantly becomes a killer. She's like,
she knocks one off of a banister,
natural to her,
and then she just beats one to death.
Yep.
You know, but like I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like when she was doing it, she was kind of like loosening herself up after like getting one or two of them.
Yep.
But the daughters were just like flipping through the house, really creepily, and they were just like around. Yeah. So at this point, you like go to the master bedroom where Kitty is, and Kitty's just being weird, and Lupita is like again handcuffed to a bed. She is tethered to this. Like that was like the continuous theme is like no one was really trying to kill her. They were all just trying to like keep her.
Yep.
Like where she was. So looking out the window, Kitty can see from the boat that like Winston Duke and her husband are fighting and like on a boat, and Winston gets the best of them. And then Kitty does like this weird thing. Well, like, what did you think of that? Like where she She laughs and then she cries. No, she cries and then she laughs.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's like
So like the doppelganger of the Taylors. Was that the name? The Tylers?
Yep.
The Tyler doppelganger mom witnessed the dad being murdered by Winston Duke. And she seemed kind of happy about it.
She wasn't. I mean, their whole mannerism was just like so weird.
I have a theory.
Okay. I mean, I do too.
I feel like because of what we end up knowing, she didn't choose to be with him neither.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had those two twins, and she didn't want that either.
That makes sense too.
Yeah. So even though she was with him, she really didn't want to be with him. But because they were tethered, that's what kind of had to happen. Like they had to have been together. That's why she was like kind of happy when he was dead, because I don't think she liked him.
I mean, he was kind of the worst.
Yeah. So at this point, Lupita is trying to go off on Kitty, and Kitty like almost feels like she wants to cut her, but she's like restraining herself, and instead cuts her own face.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Very weird.
Yeah. Zora comes in and tries to like hit Kitty with like the golf club, but she catches that shit like mid swing.
Yep.
And then she's about to chop up Zora. She has no problem hacking up Zora. Mm-hmm. And then the son actually comes in just in enough time to like beat her in the head with a crystal.
Yep.
Do you want to take it from here, or you want me to keep going?
Let's see, where are we at?
They all regroup in the house. I can take it from here.
I mean,
I'll keep going a little bit.
You can't just swing that on me.
I'm sorry. I felt like I was talking too much. I'll keep going a little bit, and then you can just follow in, and then jump in whenever you're ready. Okay. So they all regroup in the living room of the Taylor's house. And they're like, yo, they're all dead. So there has to be more than just our doppelgangers out there.
Well, like at that point, when we go to the other house, that's when like I think everyone's like, oh shit.
There's more than one.
Everyone has a doppelganger.
Right. So they decide to turn on the news. And sure enough, the news shows
Mad doppelgangers.
But
people don't know they're doppelgangers at that point.
Yeah, like these mad people are like in
Just
these like
killing
suits.
Yeah.
Killing people. And then when they're done killing people, they all hold hands and stare off into like the night. And they're making this long like chain of people holding hands. Mm-hmm. So
then that's when they have an argument where the dad's like, we should just chill here.
Yeah.
Mom is like, nah, dude, we need to leave.
Yeah.
What would you have done?
Oh, you got to leave. You got to move.
I trusted the mom. I mean, I trusted the mom's opinion because she had this sixth sense type thing going on that I was like, ooh, she knows. I feel like I would have followed her no matter what.
Right.
Because there's something up with her.
Yeah. And it gets to this point where she yells at the dad and she's just like, you don't get to make the decisions no more.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is interesting. Because the mom was like, there's more of them. They know where we are. They think like we think.
Yep.
We need to go.
Yeah.
And like the dad's not really on board until like they're like, well, we can take homeboy's car.
Yeah. Which is like a.
And he was just like, oh, shit.
I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
fuck this car up.
Yeah.
So,
So they run to the car, and then Lupita realizes she forgot the keys. Mm-hmm. So she runs back inside.
Yeah.
And she randomly, like that one, they realized that, who was still alive?
The one daughter
was magically still alive, even though she'd been murdered.
Right. Well, I think
Death.
she did. I think she just fell off of the banister and onto a glass table, but she was still. I think she was just knocked out.
So Adelaide kills her again.
Yeah.
No problems at all. Just fucking kills her.
I think. See, this is where it gets kind of weird for me, right? So when the son walks in and sees Adelaide killing that daughter, she was being like, the way she killed her was really intense,
Really brutal.
and she was yelling really chaotically. Like it wasn't like it was like it sounded like this. And then when she saw her son, she stopped immediately. And that's when I started getting like a feeling like something's not right with her. Like even though she's trying to like, I'm not sure if it's like a virus or something, or if this was like, but she just seemed to be doing these weird like things that didn't make sense to me.
Yep.
Like her mannerisms, like she was like snapping mentally, which made me wonder what was really going on. So at this point, they get back to the car and like the daughter wants to drive.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And they have like this weird, they take a moment to have like a weird argument about it.
All three of them. Like the dad wanted to drive.
I was literally yelling at the screen at this point.
Yep, same.
And the daughter has a valid argument. Everyone else is fucked up.
Yep.
I should drive. Daughter turns on the car. Who's in the driveway? Her doppelganger.
Yes.
Fucking fast as fuck doppelganger.
Just like the other thing, like all of the doppelgangers have no fear of death. So like you could literally drive a car at them.
Which she did.
Which she very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
The dot like the dad was like, hey, you should back up. And the daughter's like, I'm gonna back forward.
Yep.
And drove the car trying to run over the doppelganger, but the doppelganger ran on top of the car.
Ran over the fucking car. Which
was crazy.
Not normal.
Yeah. And they're all like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And then the dad opens the sunroof. Like
fucking
a weirdo.
Yep.
And the doppelganger like stabs the like her scissors through the sunroof. And now she's like Wolverine, like stuck on top of a car, just like, I'm not going anywhere. You know? And like the daughter like speeds up and then she like slams the brakes, which I always like think to do. And like, I always think people should do it.
Yep.
And like things like to get things off.
Yep.
But it doesn't always like work in real life.
True.
It kind of works the first time. You know, where she falls from the roof to like she falls on top of the car. To like she falls on the hood of the car. And then the daughter does it again. Except for she goes way faster.
Yes.
To the point where everyone in the car is fucking shook.
Yes.
She was doing like 60. With like this whole ass girl on the windshield. Slams on the brake, the girl was flying into the woods.
This time she's fucked up.
Oh, so fucked up.
Fucking at this point you know she's dead. Or she's incapacitated to the point where like after seeing her fly, you'd be like, all right, we good. Let's keep going.
But the mom gets out.
She gets out of the fucking car to go make sure. And she has to walk far into the woods.
She walked, I would say it was like at least like 20, 30 feet.
And Zora's double was wrapped around a tree.
And still being pretty aggressive.
Still, and that's like the point where you're like, oh, these people like.
They're like the crazies.
Yeah, like they don't, she literally was violent to her last breath.
But the mom was like calming her.
Yep.
Which I thought was weird. You know, and maybe because it looked like her daughter or.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I thought. Maybe she like felt some type of way because they looked like her kids. Yeah.
Now it gets to a scene which I thought was kind of weird. But they just get back into the car and drive off. And it just turns to daylight all of a sudden.
Yep.
Like, I don't know where they were driving to. Like, I guess they were driving back to their house, or I don't know where they were in relations to where they started. But I think in my mind they end up back at Santa Monica Beach.
Yeah, they do.
But
right.
like they were saying like that they're like that the car in front of them was their car.
Yes, like the doppelganger family stole their car.
So they were driving?
I mean, yeah.
That's kind of crazy, right? Like these doppelgangers were driving a car. Okay. So the doppelgangers driving this car, they park it on like the beach so that you couldn't go nowhere. You like when they drove into it, like it was like they kind of like took up the road and the car was on fire. And then like, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was on fire. And then like they stopped. And that's when like this part like eludes me a little bit. Do you remember kind of how?
So they realize like what's all weird. They all ended up there, but it's like your doppelgangers are thinking like you, so they know that you're gonna end up there. That's what I took.
Where did the sun come from? Was he under the car?
He was just kind of there.
Because I know he came, I don't know if they were like almost about to hit him, but he was under the car because he comes out from under the car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that part was very confusing to me because I don't know if he was like, if they almost hit him or if they stopped and then they heard something scurrying.
I think it was more like that.
But he comes out from underneath the car and like everyone in the car is like, oh shit.
And they can't get around it.
Right. And he's standing in front of this burnt down car, the doppelganger son, Jason, with his mask on. And he's just like snapping.
And staring at them.
Very offbeat.
And Adelaide is like, oh, I got, like, she has this instinct where she feels like she can handle this.
Well, I mean, at this point, she's the only one. She's the best fit one in the car. Like at one point in the film, they have like that whole kill count on who has the most kills. So the most kills should be in charge. I thought that was kind of like a funny conversation. But Adelaide definitely has the most kills.
So she gets out. She goes up to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And while this is happening, young Jason, who knows his doppelganger more than anyone else, realizes that it's a trap. So he
tells everyone to get out the car. And just as that happens, young Jason, well, the doppelganger Jason, like drops a match and lights up the car. Like everything explodes. There's like a trail of like fluid of like, I don't know, gas or something.
But like, this is a really weird scene because Jason knows that his doppelganger for some reason will imitate him.
This is another part I didn't understand.
So he literally kills his doppelganger.
He does. So what Jason does to kill his doppelganger is he like takes control of the doppelganger by like stretching out his arms and then walking backwards. And the doppelganger does the same actions as the doppelganger walks backwards into a fire and basically burns to death. At this point, Lupita's doppelganger emerges out of a maroon car. Like she was just hidden in the back of it. It was so creepy. And takes Jason and runs off. Like these doppelgangers are fucking strong as shit.
But that, I mean, I guess maybe because they're on this. It was just like, that was one of the moments where I was like, can everyone control their doppelganger? Is that just a thing?
So weird. Like that part was so fucking, it didn't make any sense to me.
That part brought a lot of questions for me that never get answered.
Yeah. So Lupita chases off after the doppelganger. And again, they're at the Santa Monica beach. So they end up at the same fun house. As Lupita's going up there, she sees all these these people in red jumpsuits just holding hands. Even to the point where some of them are in the water.
Yep.
Like underwater. Like they're going to die under there.
Yep.
So this is the part that fucked me up. So Lupita is like, she's chasing after her son, but she knows where to go.
And it's
like she opens up the secret door in the fun house. She goes down the escalator. And as she's doing all this, she's like readying herself.
There's an escalator that goes down.
And there's these rabbits every fucking where.
It's just this weird scene of going farther and farther down into the world.
Yeah.
But it's man-made and pretty
clean for the most part.
Clean and was like modern.
Yeah, it looked everything was working.
Yeah, like there's an escalator going down into the pit of unknown. And they're like, who the fuck's programming and making this?
Who's paying this electric bill?
Yes.
Who's paying this electric bill?
Questions.
Because it's not free.
But she knew. She
knew exactly where to go. And that's when I was just like, I think my theory is correct.
Shit is a foul. Yeah.
So she gets downstairs and then like she's like creeping through the rooms and she runs up on like the Lupita from like the tethered Lupita. And she gives her like another speech.
Yep.
Where she's like, you could have taken me with you. Don't you remember the day? Like I was dancing and that's when they realized I was not tethered and I could lead them. And then, so that part is strange.
Yes.
Don't quite understand it, but we'll come back around.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll come back around. Lupita and Lupita's doppel get into a fight and like the doppel is whooping her ass.
Yes.
Just like on these sharp movements.
Very casually.
It kind of felt like Neo in the Matrix when he just like fucked up an agent right quick. Like they already knew every step before the doppelganger, before the real Lupita couldn't match.
She couldn't.
She got stabbed in the stomach. I thought she was dead.
Repeatedly. She was dying. She was getting hit.
Yeah.
There was no way she could have won.
Right. It gets to this point where they get to these rooms, and they're in these rooms, and it's like a locker, and it looks like a place where people would sleep.
It looked like almost like a military type.
Like very barracksy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, the Doppel Lupita like emerges out of a shadow, very scary like, and manages to catch the wrong end, the business end of real Lupita's fire poker, and kills her. Well, doesn't kill her yet. Stabs her up really good.
It fatally hits her.
Yeah, it's a fatal wound. As she's going down, Lupita takes her handcuffs and like wraps it around her Doppel's neck.
Yep.
And like snaps her neck.
Yep.
Which was intense. As this happens, but like again, she was like doing like this weird roaring, and it sounded very feral.
Primal.
Like Lupita was getting very very feral with this thing, and then she quickly goes to her neck and takes the key off. And I was like, how the fuck did she know that was there?
Yep.
That was very strange. So then it like pulls back, and then we realize like her son is in the locker. And, you know, he's like looking at his mom really weird. Like, I don't recognize you.
Yep.
Yeah. So as all this is happening, Winston Duke and the daughter are in an ambulance, and they're trying to get patched up. And they just see, you know, these Hands Across America motherfuckers.
Just looking fucking creepy.
Just like holding hands. And Winston Duke is like, is this like some weird ass performance art? Like that was like I think it was like a legit question, because like some people are fucking weird.
Yeah.
And they would think murdering a bunch of people for performance art is like a legitimate means to get your point across. So Lupita comes back, and she starts driving this ambulance, and they're driving off into the sunset. And like her son is just like looking at her with like complete distrust.
Yep.
And then it cuts to the big reveal.
The flashback.
The flashback.
The real flashback.
As it happens, when young Lupita went down to the carnival house the first time. Okay, so where should we start? I guess it starts with
young
the
Lupita,
tethered before, because it starts with them before she even came down, and it showed them like on rides and shit. Remember that?
Yeah, that they are literally mimicking us above, and it kind of hints that
they're possibly clones.
That it was some type of government experiment to control us up above by creating some type of duplicate of us below to get us to consume above.
Yeah, because the daughter at one point in the beginning of the movie said that they put fluoride in our drinking water to control us. And so there's possibly... What ends up happening is that it shows a flashback of 1986. And in 1986, as Lupita was at the Ferris wheel park, underneath of them, there was another, like, they were in the same room that they're in now, full of the tethered. And they all looked fucking crazy.
They all looked like bizarro versions of you above.
And they were all doing what the people above them was doing. So that there was some people holding a sign. The guy was holding a sign. When Lupita's dad, there's people on roller coasters. So these people were in a room on like a roller coaster. They were just standing and shaking and being fucking weird. When Lupita's dad wins her a shirt, like he just has like this shirt, and it was like a real fucking shirt that like this Doppel got. So as they were walking, they were like intrigued by something, and they both ended up meeting each other in this fun house. And immediately upon meeting each other in the funhouse, the Doppel Lupita kidnaps the real Lupita.
She strangles her to knock her out.
Yeah, she strangles her to knock her out, and then drags her back to the barracks, and then handcuffs her to a bed and leaves her there.
Yep.
And all this little girl has is her Hands Across America t-shirt.
Yep.
As the doppelganger takes the Michael Jackson Thriller t-shirt and then heads back up to be with the family. So this whole entire time, the real Lupita was the doppelganger looking Lupita. And the fake Lupita was the mom that we've been spending the whole entire movie with. as it turns out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now there's tons to break down here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. First thing I would like to say, and feel free to interject with anything that you've read or come across. I have some theories. I have some concerns. I have some questions. So one of the things that happened when I saw early, when Lupita went to the beach, she said, talking can be difficult for me. You know, I don't like doing that. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, okay, that was a sign that we didn't see. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When Doppelganger Lupita shows up at the house, as you realize throughout the movie, she's the only doppelganger that can talk.
Yes, that's
the rest of them all grunt.
That's a big sign.
And when she was talking the first time, that's why she sounded like that, because she doesn't talk ever. But she sounded very much like, alive.
That I think was also because when she strangled her, it fucked her up her voice.
Huh.
I think she strangled her hard enough to like do something.
That's interesting.
And that's why she had like a cracked voice box.
Yeah.
It shows her like choking her out.
Okay, so she cracked her voice. That's also why she talked like that. That makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then Lupita, doppelganger, there's like this dance or something that happened, mm-hmm. and she was moving in a way where the other tethereds knew that she wasn't tethered. Mm-hmm. And then it gave her enough time to like plan and like orchestrate this.
Yep.
So everything would be perfect so she can exact her revenge on this like girl who stole her life.
It's crazy that her revenge was literally to end everyone's life instead of just...
Well, it was weird because I don't think everyone's tethered. I think only a handful of people. I think a lot of people. But then I got thrown off because like the line was so long.
Like, do you think the tethered is like
all of Santa Monica?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it was like all of a state or something. I don't think like all of America, but I think like a large chunk of the population was tethered.
Okay.
I also like so many questions, not enough answers. So basically everything that happened above happened below. So Winston Duke and Lupita got together on the surface,
yep.
which forced Winston Duke's tethered and Lupita's tethered to get together underground. And then they had to have the same exact babies. Like, what are the odds of that?
They were unwanted. They were not.
They were not. It was basically she was raped.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was just raping happening across the boards.
Yeah.
And the tethered are not enjoying their lives because they are never in control.
Yeah.
They are just like at the whim of people who are, and that seemed like really deep. But see, here's my question. Why didn't she just leave?
There were a lot. Also, why did the government just abandon them?
The government abandoned them. Like, oh, and also they were eating rabbits. Why were there so many rabbits?
Yeah, no, you kept saying that throughout the whole movie. Why is there so many rabbits?
Like,
why?
It just didn't make so like if like a tethered like I just didn't understand how the above controlled the below, or did the below control the above? Because why didn't Lupita's character, when she got taken and she was able to get free, why didn't she just go to the surface? Like, she didn't have to stay down there.
No.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
What do you think?
I mean, there are just questions I feel like we're not going to get answers to.
Yeah.
Because my main question was, if this was a government experiment, like, and I know where Jordan Peele was going with this.
It's very Twilight Zone-y.
Yes. And I know that these are answers that aren't meant to be answered, or questions that aren't meant to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, why would the government have just left them there? Like, they would have, I feel like, knowing at least the U.S. government, they would have killed everyone. They would have done something super fucked up if it was the government.
So what happened if someone leaves that area? Like, how does the tethers don't drive? So if you were driving from one place to another, what would they do?
Unless they really thought that it was never going to be penetrated, kind of like they thought your tethered would always just stay down there and keep doing what it was meant to do.
Yeah, my only thing with the government thing is like maybe someone got murdered.
One person in charge. Which I mean, I believe that. I believe all of that.
Like, what if the tethered just like killed that person and then like they went to the surface and just like, oh, well, fuck the rest of you? Because it doesn't seem like the tethered have any love for other tethered. But
No.
the mom looked like she was trying to comfort other tethered, and they were not trying to kill her, which makes me think that they had explicit instructions from Lupita, the tethered Lupita, not to kill them, like not to kill that one.
I feel like, well, I think she brought that to the attention that like she had to kill her doppelganger, and if she killed her doppelganger, that would have been basically the end of the world, kind of, in a way. Like they would have taken control, but she had to kill Lupita 1 or Lupita 2.
My main concern is like when this little girl woke up and she got free because she planned all this shit. How they get the jumpsuits? How they get gold scissors if they're just tethered to people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there was just like a lot of like stylized choices here that I don't understand. Why didn't Lupita's character just leave? Like she knew how to get above and below. Like why didn't she like there? I wish there was just something there that just kind of just, even if it was a throwaway line, like when you go below a certain altitude or something, your magnetic charges like flip flop or something, and it's like the ones above control the ones below. Sure.
Yeah.
On a social commentary level, what do you think they were talking about in this movie?
I think it definitely had to do with like us being controlled by the media, the, you know, like us not having control of our own lives. And there's Big Brother is kind of controlling us. Like that's where I took it.
Interesting.
But then like I also did read kind of that Jordan Peele, like what inspired him to make this movie was him being in like a tunnel, a subway system, and him just wondering what all these tunnels that aren't used, what they lead to.
Right.
So I don't know how much he took and ran with that.
Yeah.
Or if there was meant to be like a deeper interpretation, which I think
I definitely took it as the have and have nots. And how like kind of like how in politics the 1% control what the rest of the world does in a way. Yeah, and it's like how their actions affect the people below them, and how there's just no disregard, like they don't even exist. And I kind of looked at it as more of a, instead of this one being like a racial film, it was definitely more of a class film. And the ones above were of higher class than the ones below.
Well, then that part where Lupita's doppelganger said, "We are Americans."
Yeah,
that to me was very like, oh,
right.
Okay, this is a direct.
Well, at one point, when she's giving her monologue, and like Lupita's doppel was saying, like, "You could have took me with you."
Yes. Why didn't you?
Why didn't you? And at the same time, I'm just like, why didn't you just leave?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if she was just like, but it just seemed like her parents there weren't, they were creepy. Like, it just, none of it made any sense. And then, so the final scene, you see all these doppels holding hands, and they're going a distance.
They're far. They're miles and miles and miles.
They were like in the mountains and shit. And there's like all these helicopters just looking at all these like red jumpsuits holding hands. Which made me believe like maybe it was like the whole state of California. You know, like I could believe in something like that. But they all had like these doppelgangers that came out. And I mean, they weren't nothing special. They were just, I don't know. It was just weird. And like after I left the movie theater, like I didn't know if I liked this movie or not.
I felt the same. Like we for a reason didn't talk about it after, but it was definitely, and anyone I know that has seen the movie said they needed to sit on it after they seen it.
It was no Get Out. Listen to our previous episode of Get Out, which was a fantastic movie and a fantastic episode.
Yeah, it was no Get Out.
But it wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad, but you... And I remember us talking about this before we even saw the movie, that you can't have expectations when you go in to see a different movie, because Get Out was so good. And unexpected. Yeah. I mean, this one is performing better than Get Out.
Well, yeah.
But that is because of Get Out.
Yeah, it's because of Get Out. It has like the ripple effect. I'm just, as a film, I can just tell that Get Out was a little bit more of a passion project. And I can definitely tell too, like there's a lot of film-esque people that I follow on Facebook and other social media. And a lot of people are mad about this movie. I wouldn't say I'm mad.
I'm not mad either, but I think some people just expected Get Out too.
I think a lot of people just expect him to be like the Spike Lee of horror films, like always just doing racially based horror films.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. I think he gave us a lot. He gave us like a different black family dynamics.
And I'm here for that. I'm here for the fact that he gave us a black family dynamic.
Yeah, and it's like a horror film that could have easily started a white family.
Yes.
Like nothing about this had to do with race. It was more about class and like where you are in life. And I think all of those are like perfectly fine. I think Jordan Peele is a good director.
I agree. I
think he is not a one-hit wonder. I don't think he's a fluke. I think he's going to continue to make movies that challenge people. And I think he'll continue to have a style and a vision. And I think he's just going to make cool shit. Like, I'm really here for his next films.
Same.
I just don't think... You know what this movie felt like? It felt like Signs.
Oh, no, not M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, you got to think...
There was no water.
Back when Shyamalan was popping, like... He had Unbreakable. He had like Sixth Sense, which is like Get Out.
Yeah.
And if we don't include Unbreakable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, actually, this feels more like Unbreakable, I guess, than Signs.
I hated
No,
Signs.
it feels more like Signs than
I hated
Unbreakable.
Signs.
Well,
but I mean, that's just a personal. I know a lot of people that like Signs. So that's
I know a lot of people. I'm not calling it The Village. I hated The Village. But if
that tree movie was,
no, it's not that. I don't want to say like Jordan Peele and M. Night is on the same level, but it just felt like a good movie, but it didn't feel like his first movie. Mm. And I'm not saying like, oh, it had to be like socially conscious and like it had to talk about race. I'm just saying like as far as like a complete thought, Get Out made a little bit more sense than this one did.
It was easier to the innuendos.
Yeah.
And
even the plot point was just easier to follow.
Yeah. This one was definitely more of like a...
The biggest hole to me is why didn't she leave?
Yeah.
It wasn't like she didn't know the way. Maybe she didn't know the way. Maybe that's it. She didn't know how to get out. But then she gets out anyway. She gets out eventually.
True.
Because how the fuck they get all those damn gold scissors? And these red jumpsuits.
These so many red jumpsuits.
And how tethered were they?
Mm-hmm. And how did they cut themselves from it?
Because like they were eating rabbits all the time. Like they were fucking those rabbits up.
That was all.
How is there so many rabbits?
There was a lot of bunnies in those cages.
Were the bunnies just fucking and just making more rabbits?
I mean, they do.
Like, do they populate that fast that where you can have a people eating them and then they still be replenishing?
I guess.
I don't know. All right. Well, let's. I think we talked enough about it. Let's get to the score. So, for those of you listening for the first time, we rate our movies. Is it a 3-person scale or a 4-person? Was it 3 scale or 4? I want to say it's 3.
3.
Yeah. We don't believe in bad movies here at the Lulu and Pop Horrawr Show. We just believe in movies just not just for you. Mm-hmm. They're just not for you. So maybe you don't want to see them. So the highest of our scale would be date night movie. Go see this in the theater.
Pay to see it.
Yeah. Oh shit! Come on now, Siri. Get your mind right. The next tier would be this is a Netflix and chill movie.
Date night.
Yeah.
Indoors. Get Chinese food.
Yeah, like get yourself some General Towels. You know,
or maybe like we got upstairs
a Lime-A-Rita.
We got a cheesesteak.
I'm so ready for that cheesesteak. And then our last tier of movie is
catch it when it's on.
Catch it on TV.
Don't actively look for it, but if it's on,
on and you ain't doing shit, you got nothing else to watch. You're all cut up on Black Ink and Love and Hip Hop, and nothing else is really popping off. Sure. If something else comes on, turn that shit off. Mm-hmm. Where would you place this movie?
I am still gonna stick with go see it in the theater.
I'd agree. I would definitely go see it in the theater. I think if this came from a different director, I would still say go see it in the theater. I don't want to say just because Get Out was so phenomenal. I don't think this will be a cultural phenomenon like Get Out.
There won't be any cult.
Yeah, classic following.
Yeah, there won't be any like, tea jokes or, right. Get Out had so many things that were still, the sunken place. There will be no jokes and ongoing things to follow this movie. But I still say go see it in the theater.
I agree. I think it was good. I liked it. I just want to see what else Jordan Peele can do. It still left me with a lot of questions.
Yeah. There's so many, I've read a lot of people that are super passionately hating on it.
I'm not upset about it.
I'm like, that's generally a genre of people that are just,
upset.
They just need the best movie or it's trash.
Yeah.
You know?
I would be interested in seeing some of the reviews if you want to share them with me later. I kind of want to check them out because I haven't come across anyone who's hated it. I've only come across people who didn't understand it or were underwhelmed by it.
I think some people went in expecting Get Out too.
Yeah.
You know, like something that's going to be life changing and something that's, you know, never been done before.
Yeah.
This is something that's it is very unique. I think anything Jordan Peele is going to put out is going to be unique.
I just don't I like keeping it 100. That one plot hole just fucks me up.
You want answers. I
don't even need a full answer. Just like if they would have explained the tethering a little bit better or like explained where they were from or why they were there or if they didn't just show me how many there were.
Yeah.
Like there were so many of them. There's no way they lived underground and ate fucking rabbits.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that. 8 rabbits raw. Like I just don't believe it in this place that had lights. I just don't believe in a fucking escalator. I just don't believe that shit. Like I needed something. I feel like it should have went, and I know he probably wanted to keep it more grounded, but it had to have been like another dimension or something. Or just something that was like maybe a social, like I would have did something where there was like a government facility and it like tore a hole into something.
Yeah.
And then these things were coming out. Like, cool, I can live with that. But just
like
the fact
another
that
dimension.
like Stranger Things. But the fact that they were clones was I was like, A, that's weak sauce. And B, like the way the tethering worked, it just made no sense. Like, what if you got in your car and drove cross country? Would your tether just be fucked up?
If you died, would your tether die?
Yeah, like
that part had me fucked up from the get go too. I didn't even bring that up. Like when they killed their tethers, why didn't they die?
It makes and then like the fact that Lupita is a tethered.
Yeah.
Her doppel should have been able to control her.
There are definitely things that you want answered after seeing this.
And it's just the way that it was presented to me. I don't dislike it. It is just definitely not my favorite movie of 2019 so far.
No, and I just wonder if that's what he wanted. It has to be what he wanted. I'm assuming. I mean, there will be interviews with him for us to listen to.
I'm not mad. I just want to know why she just didn't leave. Like, if he can just answer that for me, I think I would enjoy this movie a lot more if I just understood
why
the tethering relationship a little bit.
Yeah. Like,
who's in control? Do you have to be above the ground to be in control? Is it like a polar vortex thing or like a gravitational thing or a magnetic thing? Like, and then when they showed them, like, that's when I was just like, this is completely crazy. Like, they showed them at a fair and like a dude had a t-shirt. And I was just like, where the fuck did they get this t-shirt from?
Yeah. The Bizarro version.
Yeah. And he was just like, it was like, I couldn't believe that because like there's no way there's a whole city underneath the city you're in. There's tunnels and there's rooms and shit underneath, but it's not going to be a 1-for-1 layout where like my doppelganger can be below me and do the same exact thing I'm doing. Make that shit an alternate dimension. Make that shit a fucking rift that exploded. Make it something else. That's all I'm saying.
But go see the movie.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants to make it a Netflix movie. I'm not going to lie to you.
But support Jordan Peele.
I feel like I probably would have enjoyed this a little bit more if I was on my couch. You know what I mean? Because I could rewind things and
talk more about it openly.
Yeah, I'm going to change my review. I'm going to put it to a Netflix
snap. Film. Don't pay to see it?
I mean, you pay Netflix.
That's true.
I mean, it's not like streaming on like it's not like on TV. Yeah. I just feel like there's just a lot there that I just needed. I don't need all the answers. I'm not one of those people that need all the answers. But if you leave a giant plot hole, and maybe I missed something. If I missed something, y'all message me, please. When you hear this, hit us up on Instagram.
Yes.
Instagram, Lulu and Pop on Instagram, Lulu and Pop on Twitter, Lulu and Pop on Facebook. Let us know how you felt about us.
I would
Did the plot holes fuck you up?
I would like all of the thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, that plot hole fucked me up to the point where I can't even rock forward because I just want to know why she just didn't leave. Mm-hmm. You could have did all this shit way sooner. Where did they get the scissors from? Gold scissors can't be cheap. Where did they get the jumpsuits from? How tethered were they? Yeah. Could they work? Could they not work?
Yeah.
Like,
could they ever fall in love?
Could they fall in love? Could they not fall? So you're trying to tell me every tether had the same exact genetic
Is there
layout?
some Mark and Lauren down below that's just like, this is not what I'm into?
This shit fucking sucks. Thanks, a guy above. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, so like, how'd they have kids at the same exact time? Like there was so much there. And the fact that they were only linked through a genetic experiment makes me not get on board. It had to have been, for me, something drastically different to connect them. Like a negaverse. Mm-hmm. Like an alternate dimension where they were the upside down or some shit. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that does it for us for this episode of Lulu and Pop Horror Show.
Horror
Show. Tune in with us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I don't know what's on the schedule. I didn't really prep it at all.
I mean, we have it. It's just to be determined.
I actually have some dates or something. Let me see if I can.
I know we have a lineup. But that's on you. That's not on me.
Ooh, the shade.
No, I mean, I don't have that list. I don't mean like...
I do.
You didn't share that list with me. I helped curate it.
January, February, March, April. I think Pet Sematary, the remake.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure everyone listening has seen one of the million commercials for it because they be plugging that shit. Hella.
You think that's going to be any good?
It looks creepy, and I'm a big John Lithgow fan. So,
do you want to do the first Pet Sematary before that one, or do you want to just...
Ooh, so creepy.
Do the regular Pet Sematary? That shit does nothing for me. Like
really? That shit didn't creep you out?
Hell no.
I guess you didn't have a big brother named Donnie traumatizing you with that.
I did not. I'm more afraid of the cross-faced chicken wing than I am a baby coming out.
You heard my sister last night. She
wouldn't even talk about it.
That's how scarred she is, and she's 30 years old.
I mean, like, no offense, but your sister's also definitely afraid of birds.
I mean, she got pooped on.
That's not a reason to be afraid of birds.
But she's also like kind of a badass. Like she'll fight anyone. But she's
it's not like, yeah, like when things poop on things, it would just make me dislike them, not afraid of them.
She's a complex person.
I'm just saying, like, yeah.
I'm just letting you know, like,
yeah,
she will cut a person in a second.
Unless it's a bird.
Unless it's a bird, then she's
gonna run because it pooped on her. The bird had too much burrito. All right, well, that does it for us for this week. Till next time.
Bye.